I thought this was a crystal ball. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in to the point with the king. You guys know what to do. Find us Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, which is hopefully where you're watching us. And if you are, please click subscribe. Please click like. Leave a comment. We're waiting to get to 750 subs to give away this to one lucky person out there. Okay? Thank you for supporting us and our fantastic guests. Can I go through this amazing panel that we have today? Okay. We have the behemoth of a brain of basketball beyond the locker room. How you doing today, my brother?
Good, man. Appreciate the intro.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, I did not get. I wonder who he's talking about for a second.
Also, we have the linguistic, lyrical Leviathan in Lex, aka the Raptors freak. You guys go there every single day. I don't know how this guy does it. At 9:30 in the morning, live streaming. Make sure you join the live chat. Send your love. You'll meet all the great people out there. Shout out Freak Nation. You guys know what I'm talking about. Lex, how you doing today, my brother?
Oh my gosh, I've never been called a Leviathan. I love this. This is so cool. And in some ways, I feel like after you saying that, I have to spit bars for some reason. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do after that with such a great intro. The Leviathan. Wow.
Hopefully. And then, not to mention, my man right there. You guys know who he is. All the way from the East Coast to your home, the one and only Coach Tim Roach. How you doing today, brother?
Doing pretty good. I'm ready for the season.
Yeah? I don't know if we all. I think we're all just pretty excited. And since we're all excited, and I hope you guys out there are watching, because otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this if it didn't say season preview. I don't know. But we're gonna preview the season. We're gonna give you guys a thought. I got a bunch of titans around surrounding me right now to speak upon this. And guys, since I know we all got a lot to say, we're gonna go through this right now. Let me go. I got the first question for you guys. We'll go around the table, okay? Let me know. Give me your prediction on how many wins the Raptors will have this at the end of the season, and give me one reason why. I'll start with you, Beyond.
It's not gonna be kind. I think they're gonna get. I say 27 wins. And my reason why is talent deficiency. I am very concerned about the talent deficiency of this team. I'll be honest about it.
I'm coming to see you.
I know. Sorry, there. Sorry, Sanford's son. There. Sorry, Freddie. I said that before.
Wow,
you probably should pick me last in this case here, but
wow, talent deficiency. Okay, we'll take that. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, right? Lex.
Okay.
Man, I know I've been hearing you harp on this on your show because you know I'm there every day. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm there every day. What about you?
I honestly said this morning, Brian. This is out of the whole 30 years of the entire history of the Raptors, this is the one point where I feel like I have no good grasp on what's going to happen with the Raptors this year. I'm being completely honest right now. But if I have the educated guess right now, I have a much more optimistic view than the last panelist as far as saying that. I'm going to say that I think that they're going to get high 30s. So I'm going to say around 38 wins this year. I want them to get above 500. I think that, the idea of being talent depleted is maybe fair, but we don't know for sure because in some ways we've got to think about the advances of Grady Dick and Scottie Barnes and even these X factors with these rookies. So it may be, that's why I have no grasp on this. I mean, he could be very right. It could be 27, but I would say that would have to be because of injuries that happened. Because if we're healthy this year, I think we're going to get high 30s, if not almost 500. And it really is because we have no idea. These guys, Scottie looks like he's all NBA already. And Scottie, we go as well as Scottie does. Honestly,
so your reasoning is we have no idea. Gotcha.
I have no idea. Like, I know I pay so close attention to the Raptors so much. I can honestly say at this point in time right now is the most unknown time I've ever. I can't get a grasp on this. In the past couple of years, I could put something on it. I'm going to say 38 wins, though. And hope that they do somehow eke into getting just above 500 somehow. I think we're better than like 6 or 7 of the Eastern teams, and we
Hold up.
will be in the playoffs. But
Hold up, Coach, you're up.
Yeah.
What's your prediction?
I'm probably closer to beyond on this one. I'm going to go 30-52. That schedule until January 1st is a gauntlet. It is the worst schedule per rating. They have the toughest schedule in the NBA until then, and it's going to be tough to overcome that schedule early. And I can list probably 9 teams right now that are better than us, in my opinion. And I do think there is a talent deficiency, but I'm just going by what Masai and Bobby and Darko have said. Rebuild, rebuild, rebuild. So you kind of wonder if they are doing well. Will they pull the ripcord halfway through and like, no, we're rebuilding right now? I don't know if they'll actually do that. But yeah, that schedule's really tough early. So I'm going to go with 30-52 this year.
Okay, I got a prediction. And I find this freaking hilarious because I'm the only one on this panel that is not a Raptors fan. Until you get rid of the ambassador. Then I'll be a fan again. But I was actually thinking they'll hit 500. Get to 41. And here's my reasoning. Here is my reasoning. Hear me out. Coach, you might understand this from some teams that we've coached where we've had talent deficiency. But what I've seen in this offseason from these young guys getting the fresh start, right, after that rebuild, after tearing it down, now let's set the foundation. And this offseason with their chemistry, building with each other, building relationships, having fun together on and off the court, and pretty much sticking to each other. Like in Trinidad, we say bati and bench, right? It's just sticking to each other, okay? That's what I see. And I also see a sense of people keep forgetting, rebuild. Okay, Darko, this is his second year coaching, right? Scottie, this is his 4th year in the league, and he's basically the guy who has to put it all on his shoulders, right? So it's still very much a young team. So that's pretty much where the leadership is coming from something young. That's what I see. Now, my question to you guys is, despite the leadership being young, do you think there is either a specific player on the Raptors roster currently who can be the locker room leader, or do you think at some point the Raptors might have to see which of the young ones fail in order to get a veteran that can help guide these guys who sits on the edge of the bench but tells them what to do? Beyond, you're up.
Well, I think I like how RJ as well as quickly, I should say, how they kind of handle themselves and comport themselves. Like RJ's a guy's about his business. When he comes in, you can almost see an imaginary briefcase beside him when he comes into their arena. Like he ain't about all this jokey stuff. And no disrespect to the Vibes crew, like he's all business. And I think, to me, that's what I think moving forward, you need a guy like that in the locker room. It's like, hey, this is how we're going to be playing. Quickly also is a very mature guy. In this case, when you hear him speak, on a lot of different type of topics too. You can hear a lot of depth in this case of how he speaks. So I think those guys they're going to give a certain consistency on this team when it comes to personality that a young team needs. So I think I would be looking at them as kind of the guys at least up front. And I think some other guys will grow into certain roles, right? This is what we want to see from Scottie this year, right? How will Scottie grow into this role that he has, right? For the most of his career so far, he's been like the third, sometimes as a rookie, the 4th banana. He doesn't have to worry about those type of things, but he's now moving up on the totem pole, and we'll see what that looks like for him now being deems the guy, and what that all entails. So I'm fascinated to see how that plays out throughout the season.
Lex, you're up, man. That's very interesting, by the way. I agree with you, Scottie. We got to see. But Lex,
I'll take the baton on this, and I'll mention Scott right here because obviously the franchise has really made it very evident that they're looking at him as the leader of this team. I know there's a lot of debate between RJ's more of a scorer kind of guy that kind of shows this, and maybe Emmanuel's more this. But I think we're seeing something very different from Scott already in this early part of this season from even last year in his All-Star year. He's handling the media a lot different right now. He's very much more well-spoken and confident. And I think even just seeing how he handled the preseason just recently, that he's ready to be that on-the-floor leader that's going to do stuff in interesting ways. And one of the things I'm really looking for with Scott is not necessarily leadership behind the scenes or on the team, because we know he's communicating, he's supportive, and he's not playing, he's running around on the sidelines helping them coach, is the leadership in clutch moments this season. Because this is what will make the Raptors season a successful one, is if Scottie comes out of the blue and shows his overpowering domination, quite frankly, and he decides, I'm going to make this big block here. I'm going to make this big clutch shot right here. And he's going to tell Raptors Nation, y'all should have never doubted me. And he's going to do this stuff. And that's part of the reason why the win total is going to be higher than anybody else can predict, is because Scottie's going to come out there and be that leader that NBA heroes have been throughout the decades, because he understands this. And he understands that the NBA is not going to give him no respect until he does this, just like Vinsanity. And if they're going to ignore him, they're not going to show his highlights on NBA.com. He's going to make them show them. And that's what I'm saying right there.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. That Scottie's leadership does. Both of you guys on that one. Coach, are you in agreement?
Scottie's leadership is going to be important this year because he's got the franchise tag on him. And he's the best player. He's the bus. He drives the bus for this team. But I think leadership will come in different ways this year. I think Garrett Temple will be a locker room leader. He's 40 years old. You're going to listen to someone who's been in the NBA for 20 years. He's the Udonis Haslem of the team. You're going to listen to someone like Pirtle, who's been in the league now 8-9 years. You're going to listen to a Bruce Brown. You're going to listen to a Scottie and RJ. I kind of look at those guys because you have so many guys under the age of 25 and 24 that you do have to have some vets on the team. So that's why one of the reasons they want to bring in Thad Young a couple of years ago. I didn't like the trade, for the record. I thought it made no sense. But if you're looking to bring someone who's a vet in, then I see their perspective on that part. So Garrett Temple, I think, will be a big-time leader. And what I've seen in preseason so far is that Scottie's communication on the court looks really good. And he has infectious energy. When he is engaged, when he is hyped, when he is all over the court. When your best player does that, it will rub off on everybody else.
No Diddy. Sorry, I had to. But no, seriously, it's like think about it this way. The reason why I asked that question is because there's a lot of young players that have come onto this team, and a lot of them are very young, right? We want to kind of like harness them and like keep their mind focused on the game, not just on the circus shows on other teams. Multiple other teams that are in the league. I'm not just calling out the Lakers. No, there's multiple other teams that have certain shenanigans. But in order to bring these young players back, like, yeah, let them have fun, but to bring them back to reality and have them go on. Like, you have your leader on the floor, which is Scottie. You have your leader on the sidelines, which is Darko. But the locker room leader is what I was asking you. And I think if the leadership that the guys you've mentioned, thank you, Coach, cannot prove that leadership over the season at the same time as one of these young stars falls to the end of the bench and gets 0 minutes, well, maybe there's an opportunity during the season to get rid of that player for a wily veteran, right? And have that young player flourish on possibly another squad, like a lot of people do. And the Raptors take the benefit of having the locker room. Now, speaking of the young guys, I'm going to ask you guys this question. Out of the guys on the squad, who do you think is going to have the biggest breakthrough season this year? Beyond?
Well, this one might be the obvious choice, but I'll say it. I think it's going to be Grady Dick. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to get more shot attempts up. I think he's a stronger build now. I think Darko is finally deploying him the way I thought he should have been deployed from day one, which is a movement shooter. Instead of having to spot up in the corner all day long, he's actually moving and playing towards his strengths. I think he's now got a feel for the league and how quick he has to get his shot off. I think the first 30 games of the year, last year, he was like, he still thought he was playing against, he was playing against Baylor. Like, no, dude, these guys are coming at you. You got to get that shot off a little quicker than that. This ain't the Big 12. So I think he's now figured that out now. And I love the fact he's actually now diversifying the game, because I always saw that in this game. I always joke about in this case here. I said to the coach, during draft time why I wanted him to get picked. I say, hey man, I said jokingly, say his highest ceiling is white clay. Like I said, look, man, this game, like if you look at his game, because no one thought of Klay Thompson being like that when he came out of college, right? But a very similar style could be a potential 3-level scorer, does not miss the free throw line, has a good size, like 6'7", 6'8" type of physique, and I'm saying, and Klay's no great athlete, but he knows where to put himself in position defensively. And I think Grady, in this case, people underestimate him defensively. I don't think he's going to be that bad defensively. I think he's going to be decent enough to know where he should be in positions. And I think he's going to have a very good season now playing with better players around him because, man, they put him with some junk last year. Like, I felt for the kid. Some of those lineups he was with, I was like, oh, my gosh. I want me to see them on a black top down the street. So Grady, I'm glad to see it. My man's finally getting shot, and I think Grady's going to have a breakout year in a lot of ways.
Nice. I like that. Dick's gonna break through.
I knew it.
You guys know I'm gonna go.
I knew you didn't leave this segment without it.
No, I can't do that. Lex, who do you think? Do you agree with Beyond, or do you have somebody else?
Yeah. Heavy. Agree with him on Grady, but just to throw some other names out there, I'm going to keep going with my guy Scott. Last year, Scottie had a big leap to make an all-star year, and most people think, well, he's just going to stay at where he was. I think that 4 is going to be big in his 4th year, and that he really is going to make a jump this year to be like really very much the top 12 players in the league. And that this is going to be such an evident thing that people are going to notice. Part of it's because of the 3-point shooting he's been working on every summer. It's just really dialed in. You saw him the last couple of games. The way he was making those threes was so confident. And the other thing that he's been talking about a lot in press lately is shot selection and knowing when to call his own number and when to look for other people. And he's getting better at making these decisions. And honestly, like, he's going inside more too, which is absolutely devastating for the other side. So I told him on Twitch personally 2 years ago, after his rookie year, when he started twitching all the time, I said, Scottie, you can go inside and eat their lunch every single time down low, anytime you want. He read my comment. He said, Raptor Street, you think I could go down and beat anybody anytime? I said, yeah, you can. Take them to the post, Scott, is what I told him 2 years ago. And I'm hoping that we see that diversification of all the levels of his play. As Emmanuel quickly said, there's 4 levels of scoring. There's up close, there's mid-range, and there's 3, and there's also getting to the line. And I want to see all those going in full effect with Scottie and diversifying it and mixing it up, keep them guessing. And I'm telling you, seriously, I don't mean to double down on my man Scott, but I'm telling you, there's something different about his aura and his energy and the way he's moving right now.
See that offensive stuff there? And the church said amen. Thank you. I've been trying to say that for the longest time, Coach. Like, can you he's got the side, he's got this huge body. Can you please just play down low for a little bit and inside out? I mean, I said it last week on our podcast with Kenyon. I said the thing to watch when it comes to Barnes is I said on Space the other day, Scottie knows his game better than the coaching staff, okay? And I said it already. That's going to be a little bit of a dilemma all year and see how this plays out. To Lex's point, if he figures out that I could get more advantage playing from about 15 feet and in and then work my way out, he'll be better off because he'll get opportunities to get the free throw line that way. If you want to be a top scorer, you got to get this free throw line about 7 times a game at least. And he has to get there. That's why I watch with him this box score. I look for 2 things. I look for field goal percentage, and I look to see how many times he got the free throw line. Mm-hmm. That's what I look for with him. That's all I'm looking for with him this year. And I think to Lex's point, that's what you need to get from him. And if Darko would just let him play his game and just like stop worrying about how many threes he shot that night, like I see Raptor fans going crazy. We hit 5 and 9 threes. I'm sitting there going like, that's not what I want to see from him. Honestly, it's great that he did that night, but in my mind, that's not sustainable. Like that's like Steph Curry type numbers, guys.
Okay, wait, hold up, Beyond. Great point, Coach. You haven't said anything. You want to talk about who's going to break through, or are you in agreement?
I'm in agreement with these guys, but I do have one guy who I want to mention.
Hit me.
RJ. When he showed up in Toronto last year, he was shooting 42% with the Knicks. He went to 55 with Toronto. And when you watch Team Canada this summer, he at times was their most consistent player. I know I can make the argument he was their second best player next to Shea, without question. He went from a 33% 3-point shooter to almost 40%. His efficiencies went way up, and he was their leading scorer down the stretch, averaging about 22 points, 6.5 rebounds, 4 assists. Those are really good numbers. These are numbers that nobody really saw coming from RJ, especially his time in New York. But when that trade happened, everybody was talking about quickly, and I get it. I was one of the few that I had heard at the time saying, you better watch for RJ. That kid's particularly motivated to get out of New York and come prove something in Toronto. Because he was the number one high school player in the country, even over Zion Williamson at one time. And then he fell in the draft, rightfully so, because Zion and Ja are tremendous talents. But
American media. Sorry.
RJ, though, he's Mr. Consistent, as Beyond said earlier. He brings his briefcase, his lunch pail, and I do like the fit with him and Scottie and quickly moving forward. And I think with Grady, too, as well with his game, because you need some floor spacers on this team. But Grady's also got another element to his game. So I have to go with RJ on this one.
Brian, let me just add something real quick. I think it's very interesting at the beginning of the season right now that there are not just like one or two guys that are in the conversation for most improved player across the NBA. We have like 3 guys that are serious candidates to be most improved player this year, and they are the 2 guys from New York and Grady Dick. And honestly, if Scott does anything like what I kind of said just now, he should maybe be considered for most improved also if he makes a certain amount of a leap that I think is possible for him this year. But honestly, they shouldn't give it to guys that are at the top of the league anyway. Like, I've never agreed with that. So if they give it, I seriously, RJ, Emmanuel, or Grady could be most improved this year.
Did they give it to John Morant one year?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense, did it?
You see, my thing is with the most improved player is, like you just said, Lex, we have 4 of them right here. Yeah. 4 of them that are potential. My problem is the voting system process. It's mostly the American media reporters who I think we all know how they feel about us. Like, for example, ESPN putting LeBron at 7th best in the league right now. Come on, hold on, pump the brakes, okay? You know, only talking about Bronny. Come on, pump the brakes, right? There's a lot more other players out there. And I think the 4 Toronto Raptors that you mentioned are very deserving. This is why at the beginning of the episode, I was very optimistic on their record at the end of the season, right? Because if all these guys can live up to their potential and keep feeding off each other, sky's the limit for this team.
They could steal games. Like in this early part of the season, they could, even though this schedule is really, really tough. Because part of it, I feel like is Darko is an amazing coach. Like, he's so in the zone, and I feel like he has an amazing library of plays and different things he's going to do. And the way he uses his assistant coaches like a brain trust, like Jama and Pat Delaney and all of them. When they do those huddles, they're like coming in and like he's very in the game. And I'm really impressed with Darko in all kinds of different ways. And that's the thing. This year, he's coming in with not so much tumultuous flux on the team. He can really establish and start building things because this is actually the team he's supposed to have, and not a team that was kind of expiring and switching over halfway through the season. So I really have a lot of expectations to Darko to shock people. And just like we beat the Celtics in Scotiabank on Wednesday, granted, it's preseason. We just got our ass whipped by them in Boston, their second team, and then we turned around and Scottie came out there and proved that he was the best player on the court with the champs out there with him, Tatum and Brown.
Can I get back to one thing?
Man, there's some surprises we could have on some people.
Can I get back to one thing for you guys to continue to discuss, because that conversation was very in-depth before we get out of here. We got some time for this one. Is we were talking about Scottie Barnes. And I know we're going to be talking about we're already this far into YouTube, so all fucking year. Okay? Mm-hmm. So let's get into this from what we've seen from the preseason, what you just said, Lex, especially against Boston. But also when I was watching the game against Brooklyn, I noticed one part of his game that people didn't really, I don't know how many people really clicked into, but every time he got the ball off the inbound, he was like one of the first players up the court with the ball. He was pushing it and looking for something. As opposed to when IQ brought it up, it was more a methodical style, still fast-paced, but Scottie was just pushing it, and plays were created for other players because the defense didn't know how to react to it. That's just one little thing I saw from him. I don't know how many people caught that from the eye test.
He had a light bulb, and he said that he's decided he has to play with force. That's what he said in the interview the other day. He said, I'm going to go at them with force from now on because that's the thing they've been doing. They put everybody on their heels in the last 2 games of the preseason. Boston didn't know how to handle Toronto pushing on them on both sides of the court. And that's the crazy thing. Scott's coming at them with Shed and Mitchell, and they're like a pack of hungry dogs after a steak, the way they're going after people on defense right now. You saw how they made them cough up the ball in the corner, that one play. And that's the thing. Scottie's leadership is on flip sides. He's not the normal superstar. He can do the stuff, I think, offensively, like we've been saying, beyond saying, as far as like if he goes down low, he can do whatever he wants. But the thing is on the defensive end, this is the Kawhi part that we said about Scott early, that he can steal, he can block, and he can be that defensive energy that Coach Roach said that is infectious to the crazy dogs that are in Jamal Shed and Davion Mitchell and Emmanuel Quickley. That's the other thing is Emmanuel Quickley's battling Davion Mitchell and them in practice every day. You don't think his defense is going to get better because he's picking up stuff from Mitchell and Shed, 2 of the best defensive guards in basketball today. So, man, I'm telling you, that's why I don't have any idea how to gauge this team because there is a real unlimited potential for this team to go above and beyond that anything we're predicting right now.
Exactly what I said. Coach, what are you thinking about that, man?
It's just about Scottie?
Sure.
What I've seen in preseason so far from the Boston game and the Brooklyn game, he's communicating. He's everywhere on the court. As Raptors Freak said, he's really pushing the ball when they're inbounding. I like that as well. You never want the defense to get set. When you dribble it up slow, they get set. I think this is just another building block, certainly this year for Scottie. To be the man. And last year, he had a 3-game stretch after the All-Star break, and Beyond and I have talked about this. That was the best basketball I've seen him play. Right after the All-Star break, he had a 3-game stretch, and he looked near unstoppable when he wanted to be. He was going more in the post. He was more active. He was talking more, I found. And then he got hurt. And that's when that kind of play-in hope it disappeared then. But I'm looking forward this year to seeing more of Scottie's development and just to find out exactly what we have because he's still 23 years old. He's not 26. He's not 27. He's 23 years old. He's going into his 4th year, and it takes time. And now he's the man. Every scouting report is on him now. It used to be on Siakam. Now it's on him. So it's going to be interesting to see how he responds to that. But early signs so far look pretty good. And I think the personnel around him now is much better. As Raptors Freak had said about Jamal Shed and Mitchell, they have to improve the perimeter defense. I don't want to see Scottie being point of attack defense anymore. Because when you put him on point of attack on Darius Garland or Dame Lillard, well, that means one of those guys, one of the other teammates has to go guard Evan Mobley. Or has to go guard Giannis. Can't have that. You got to have one of your guards do it. I want Scottie guarding those guys. I don't want him guarding someone 6 foot tall.
Yeah, Beyond. Do you think if Scottie stays healthy this year, he can really control the reins of this Raptors' future this season?
I'm looking to be more measured. I think what I'm looking for Scottie is just development on him understanding what type of game he has. And what I mean by that is he needs to come out and say, what do I want to do tonight? Why have X matchup, right? I think for the first few years, because just raw athleticism and just strength, he's just going on pure instinct. There was no methodology at all with Scottie Barnes to be out there. It's like, okay, well, you'll see him, for example, you'll have a scenario where he's got Donovan Mitchell on him. He wouldn't post him up. Donovan Mitchell 6'3". But then you'll see him bully ball Brook Lopez. Like, huh? It's like it's the same guy, but he's bully balling Brook Lopez and then doesn't want to post up Donovan Mitchell, right? It's things like that where I think he's starting to figure it out as like what matchups work for me. Second thing I want to see from him, I said before, I just want him to be more aggressive to get the free throw line. And most importantly, and this will build on these other things, he needs to establish a go-to move. He started doing something late. Last year, Nurse was there. He started working on a bit of a turnaround fadeaway in the post. And I was liking that. I was like, it's not my favorite shot in the world because it's hard to draw fouls off of it, but you can set up a ton of counters off of it. If you have a shot you feel comfortable to go to, and you could do it off your right or your left shoulder, great. He started doing it. Darko comes in, different type of offense in this case here. Pretty much it was abandoned for the most part until we saw that 3-game stretch that coach just mentioned, and he started getting to that same territory again.
Yeah.
This, I saw in this case here the other night against Brooklyn, more so Boston, pulling up on the mid-range, setting people up with that shot, with those possibilities, seeing smaller guys are just pulling up from 15, boom. You give him what the defense takes you. Those are the type of things I want from Scottie. What comes from that, we will see. But if he does that, that is a great foundation for him to move forward with in this case here as a player. And that's why I just want to see from him.
Yeah. Listen, man, the future looks bright. We all need glasses. Sunglasses.
I got some.
I just need regular glasses like you, coach. Right? Raptors, where's your sunglasses, bro?
I'm looking for them. I don't have them next to me.
I got some too.
I do have them.
I didn't bring Justin or anything. I got Justin Bieber here too. Wait, hang on.
Don't worry, I'll do your shtick for you.
What's up with that?
No word of a lie. Yo, I got you.
There we go.
There we go. I put them over there already. I have them, but they weren't in reach. That's right. Future's so bright, you gotta wear shades, baby. That's right.
That's right. All right, guys. This has been nothing but a pleasure. One last thing you guys want to say to the audience out there, specifically to them, not about the Raptors, but just to the audience out there before we sign out?
I'll just say, listen, for this season, just enjoy the season for what it is. There's a lot of young, good players that watch to develop. Like, honestly, focusing on Grady, Jacoby Walter. Probably I'll add Shed to my list, and of course to see how Scottie grows in this case as a leader. That's what I'm looking to see, and to hopefully see positive growth in all those players. That's what it's about to me. I'm not worrying about the wins or losses. What will be will be. But I hope folks don't get after game 3 and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm about to drink myself in a stupor after 4 games. Like, chill, guys. Like,
fire Bobby, trade Scottie. I don't want to hear.
Yeah, like it's gonna be okay, guys. It's gonna be okay. That's all I got to say. Enjoy the season for what it is.
Okay, Lex.
I want to double down on what Beyond just said. I feel like that's exactly the right message for this year. And that, all right, Raptors Nation, can we not be so bipolar and just overreact on everything, whether we win or lose? Can we just kind of have an even keel and just go with the flow? And once again, this isn't like your dinner from last night where you got to throw it out because it's spoiled. Our coach is invested in, and we support him. We see him doing a good job. And if you're gauging him on every single L that may be coming the Raptors' way this day, just hold your tongue because we ain't got no time for you. Seriously. And in some ways, oh, sorry, I'll be done. I'll just say enjoy the ride, enjoy the process, not Joel Embiid. You know what I mean?
Coach, bring us home.
Again, enjoy the process, enjoy the development. I want to see more of Jacoby Walter to see what he's like, because he was a top 10 pick going into the year last year, and he fell. That happens. And I just want to see, what Scottie and RJ and Quickly do bring us this year. They're the big 3. Those 3 could all average 20 a game, which is interesting. We'll wait to see if that happens or not, but let's just enjoy the process and the development.
I agree with all 3 of you 100%. Let's enjoy it. Let's see where it takes us. Because nobody could look into, well, this ain't no crystal ball, but nobody could see the future. And if you can, call me. Give me my lotto numbers. Anyway, but it's been a pleasure working with you 3 Titans, right? The lyrically linguistic Leviathan, Lex, the behemoth brain basketball Beyond. All the way from the East Coast to your home, the coach, Tim Roach. You guys know who I am. I'm the king. Make sure you guys check us out and let us know what you guys think out there. We want to hear you guys, Raptors fans. Just holler at us. And like Lex said, don't be bipolar. Peace.